The mystery surrounding Josslyn's missing ring has finally come to light, but the truth behind its discovery may create even more questions than answers. What started as a simple missing item has now become the center of a growing storm in Port Charles, drawing several familiar faces into a situation that nobody expected. For days, Josslyn tried to keep her concerns private. The ring wasn't just a piece of jewelry, it carried personal meaning, memories, and a connection to a chapter of her life she wasn't ready to revisit. When she first realized it was missing, she convinced herself it had simply been misplaced. Maybe it had slipped between couch cushions, maybe she had forgotten where she put it during a stressful day. But as the days passed, her confidence began to fade. The ring was nowhere to be found. The longer it remained missing, the more uneasy Josslyn became. Every location she checked led to another dead end. Every possibility created more confusion. Soon, even those closest to her began noticing that something was bothering her. Her attempts to act normal only made the situation more obvious. Friends started asking questions, family members noticed her distraction, and before long, whispers began circulating throughout Port Charles. Nobody knew exactly what was wrong, but everyone could tell something was weighing heavily on Josslyn's mind. What nobody realized was that the missing ring was about to trigger a chain of events that would affect far more people than anyone imagined. Meanwhile, elsewhere in town, an unexpected discovery was quietly unfolding. During what should have been an ordinary day, a familiar resident stumbled across an object that immediately caught their attention. At first glance, it seemed insignificant, just another lost item waiting to be returned. But then came the realization, this wasn't just any ring. The person instantly recognized it. The discovery raised countless questions. How had the ring ended up there? Who had access to it? And most importantly, why had nobody come forward sooner? Rather than immediately revealing the discovery, the finder decided to keep the information private. They wanted answers before creating unnecessary drama. Unfortunately, Port Charles has never been a place where secrets remain hidden for long. As word slowly spread that someone had found an important piece of jewelry, curiosity began growing throughout town. Speculation exploded. Some believed the ring had been stolen, others suspected a deliberate attempt to send a message. A few even wondered if the disappearance was connected to a much larger secret. With every rumor, the mystery became bigger. Josslyn herself remained unaware of how close the truth was to being revealed. She continued searching, becoming increasingly frustrated and emotionally exhausted. The uncertainty was taking a toll. Not knowing what happened was almost worse than losing the ring itself. Then came the moment everything changed. The person who found the ring finally decided it was time to speak up. What followed was a conversation that nobody saw coming. When Josslyn learned that her missing ring had been located, relief washed over her immediately. For a brief moment, it felt as though the nightmare was finally over. But that feeling didn't last long, because the details surrounding the discovery were far more complicated than anyone expected. Questions began surfacing almost immediately. Why was the ring found in that particular location? Who had been there before? Could someone have moved it intentionally? Was this simply a misunderstanding, or was there more to the story? Suddenly, recovering the ring wasn't the end of the mystery, it was only the beginning. As various residents compared timelines and shared information, inconsistencies started appearing. Small details that seemed unimportant at first began attracting attention. Certain explanations didn't quite add up. Certain memories conflicted with one another, and certain individuals appeared increasingly uncomfortable whenever the subject came up. That was enough to keep suspicion alive. Port Charles thrives on secrets, and residents know better than to accept easy answers. The discovery quickly became one of the most talked-about topics in town. People chose sides, theories circulated, friendships faced unexpected strain.
Even those with no direct connection to the ring found themselves pulled into the growing drama. At the center of it all stood Josslyn. She wanted closure. She wanted the truth. Most importantly, she wanted to understand how a simple missing ring had managed to create such chaos. As she pushed for answers, she uncovered information that forced her to see several people differently. Some individuals earned her trust. Others lost it. Relationships that once seemed stable suddenly appeared uncertain. The experience became about much more than recovering lost jewelry. It became a lesson about loyalty, about honesty, about knowing who can truly be counted on when things become difficult. The ripple effects continued spreading across Port Charles. One revelation led to another. One conversation opened the door to more questions, and every answer seemed to uncover an even deeper mystery waiting beneath the surface. As tensions increased, several residents found themselves facing uncomfortable truths. Past decisions resurfaced, old misunderstandings returned, hidden motives became harder to conceal. The atmosphere throughout town shifted dramatically. Nobody knew exactly where the story would end. What they did know was that the discovery of Josslyn's ring had changed everything. The object that once seemed lost forever had become a catalyst for unexpected revelations and emotional confrontations. For Josslyn, the journey wasn't simply about getting the ring back. It was about understanding everything that happened while it was gone. The truth proved more complicated than she ever imagined, and the consequences may continue unfolding long after the ring has been returned. As Port Charles struggles to move forward, one thing remains certain. Secrets rarely stay buried, mysteries rarely disappear quietly, and whenever the truth finally emerges, it often changes lives in ways nobody could have predicted. The ring may have been found, but its story is far from over. New questions remain unanswered, new conflicts continue brewing, and new surprises could be waiting just around the corner. For Josslyn and everyone connected to her, the next chapter promises to be every bit as dramatic as the mystery itself. Stay tuned for more twists, more revelations, and more unforgettable moments as the fallout from this shocking discovery continues to spread throughout Port Charles.